I think over time, as investors get to know Xiaomi better, you will come to view it more as a different kind of hardware company than that we're used to watching in the US.
Well, here's the part that I don't get, Hans, because, I'm partly paid to be skeptical. This was one of the companies that were supposed to take down Apple. First Android was supposed to take down Apple, and then Samsung through Android was supposed to take down Apple, and then Xiaomi was supposed to do it. Hasn't quite done it, and I don't see why it has to be either hardware or internet. I can see that it has to be both, but if it's not particularly the best at either one, and if hardware is still growing faster than services, why is that good?
If you look at how the consumers in China are behaving, what people are doing is that they like the Xiaomi smartphone, they like the Xiaomi TV that's world-class design and quality at very affordable prices. There's a fraction, either a third or a half of the cost of Samsung or a Apple iPhone. And once people are used to buying and using the smartphone, they like it so much, they end up buying other smart home devices from Xiaomi ecosystem companies at home, whether it is air purifier, whether it's air conditioner, whether it's a power bank. There's a variety of 80, 90 products you can buy from the Xiaomi ecosystem. So initially, you'll see the hardware sales growing faster. But what people miss is that as you have more products from Xiaomi at home, consumers end up using services more. And it's a lagging effect that happened only after you have multiple hardware devices from Xiaomi. So for Xiaomi, it is a different kind of business model where hardware and internet services are quite linked. And there is a lagging effect that we will see that going away over time.
Hans, as Xiaomi continues to expand into other markets and look to grow its revenue and keep those numbers as strong as they have been, how critical is expansion into the U.S. market for this company? And given the fact that we've seen a more hawkish stance from the Trump administration towards Chinese telcos in general, is that a big risk?
I think a lot of investors expect that Xiaomi need to do well in the U.S. to justify its valuation. I think for most of us who have been tracking companies for a while and tracking Chinese internet companies for a while, we don't think that's the case at all. The world's next 2 billion internet users that's coming up in the next 12, 13 years will come in from developing countries where Xiaomi already has presence in. Xiaomi is now in 74 countries. I remember a few years ago, a lot of people debate whether Xiaomi can do well in India. Now it's #1, far ahead of where Apple is. So there's a fair competition based on consumers in India choosing the great prices and design that Xiaomi hardware has. And over time, they'll be using internet services from Xiaomi as well. What a lot of people don't give Xiaomi credit for is that as Xiaomi expands into these countries, not only are they selling hardware, not only are they promoting internet services, they're also making strategic investments, building an ecosystem around their platform by investing in local internet players who want to have their apps preloaded to the Xiaomi phone. So it is a very interesting model that people haven't seen it before, and public investors need time to get used to that.
And that brings me to my last question, which is that there's been a lot of comparison of Xiaomi to Apple. Do you think it's perhaps better to compare Xiaomi to Samsung in its multi-pronged approach? It's not just phones, it's got multiple appliances, multiple lines of business, and it is also vertically integrated. Is that something that you expect Xiaomi to do, is take more ownership over its supply chain and the technologies underneath going forward?
I think you will see Xiaomi investing more in tech going forward for sure. I'm not sure if it's exactly like Samsung, because unlike Samsung, Xiaomi has its own direct distribution channel. It has its own mi.com website that sells products to consumers directly. It has its own new retail stores offline that has products from both itself and from its ecosystem companies. So Xiaomi is really different, and it is something that public investors need time to get used to. And the last thing I will add is that most people in the U.S. treat hardware as almost like a dirty word, because hardware is something that's nice to have, as a gadget you have because you want to have some fun and some variety. But in emerging markets, whether it's China, India, and other places, Xiaomi products is treated as a lifestyle necessity. It's part of what the growing middle class need to have for their first or second home. So Xiaomi's hardware is much stickier than the normal gadget kind of hardware that we see in the US.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.